welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to talk to you today about some tips that I have for you to make the most out of your pre-med summers. So let's get right to it. So my first tip is that you want to start early. And so you might have seen another one of my videos, the AMCAS application or med school application video, where I talk about one of my tips being starting early to write up experiences and your personal statement. The same logic actually applies here when we're talking about how can you make the most out of your pre-med experiences. One of the ways to do that is to start early. And by starting early, I mean you want to think about what experiences you'd like to add to your portfolio, meaning volunteering, shadowing, research, some kind of other hobby that you want to add to your experiences, how you're going to progressively add these kinds of experiences to your coursework schedule. Because we all know it's already difficult enough as it is to maintain a high GPA, as well as eventually having to study for the MCAT, which is a beast in and of itself, and I can definitely talk more about that in another video because I dealt with it twice, so I definitely understand the frustration that can come with trying to study for an exam like that. But you want to add experiences progressively over time. And the reason for this is because you don't want to overload yourself, especially if you're a newer college student, with trying to balance 5 different extracurriculars with your normal coursework. GPA, coursework should always be your number one priority. You add experiences progressively as long as you can handle maintaining the same grades that you were before, or improving your grades if they need an improvement, while you're doing those extra experiences or extracurricular activities. Because number one, GPA and MCAT get your foot in the door for medical school. So you have to have that foundation, or you have to have the cake before you add all the frosting and all the sprinkles and decorations and things like that. So for me, in my experience, starting early was actually starting the summer before I started my freshman year of college, where I shadowed an emergency medicine physician, pediatric emergency medicine physician, and that was the start of my shadowing experiences, and I continued them throughout my college education until my senior year of college. So you can see that there definitely was that commitment to learning about the medical field, commitment to really understanding or trying to understand what a physician does in their daily life in different specialties. I started research my sophomore year of college, and I did a lot of research through a fellowship program in the summer. I highly suggest looking for a fellowship program or doing research at your university because that's going to be the most realistic option. It's really hard to get into a lot of outside fellowships or research internships just because there's only few that are around potentially where you live, or they're just very competitive because of the large volume of applicants that they get, especially for the larger name research internships across the nation. So what you're going to want to do with research is, if you might be interested in getting some research exposure, the first thing that you could do is just be a good student in a professor's class that you might be interested in doing research with. So for example, I was really interested in doing research with my Intro to Neuroscience professor, and I loved the class. I was committed to doing all the readings, all of the practice questions. I asked questions to her during class, before class, after class. I visited her office. I showed her that I was passionate about this subject, and she saw how serious I was in this subject matter, the material, and she offered to let me work around the lab, see the lab members that were already there, and to actually create my own project with her that was able to be integrated into a fellowship that I did over the summer with research. So the first key to getting research early on is to just be a good student, show up during class, and take that extra step to ask questions before, after, during class, and go to the office hours of the professor. Show that you're really committed to learning about the material that you're learning in that class. With volunteering and starting early, I would suggest that if there is a special interest that you have, that you take that special interest and you move forward with it in a community service mentality. So for example, I am a musician and I've been playing the violin forever and I absolutely love it. And I first started playing the violin for my great-grandmother, and this evolved into, well, what if I take my violin and I am able to play for the elderly who are ill, injured, or just, they're lonely or they need special care in nursing homes. And that already bridges the gap between bringing a passion of mine, violin, into a clinical setting, nursing homes. So that will be a much more meaningful experience for you if you can take something that you're already passionate about and integrate it into obtaining some kind of clinical setting or exposure or medical setting experience. There'll be so much more for you to talk about. You'll see the excitement across your face, and you'll actually enjoy doing it, because when you're volunteering and doing community service, you want to enjoy what you're doing. You want to enjoy giving back. One note about volunteering is that you have the most time over the summer to do volunteering. I would highly suggest volunteering the summer after your freshman year or the summer after your sophomore year, because you just get more busy as the summers progress, and you'll probably want to do either some kind of research fellowship or some kind of program later on, or you'll have other obligations like MCAT studying. So you want to get your volunteering in the summer done earlier on in that sense. My second tip, finally got to the second tip, right? My second tip is to be proactive. So be proactive. What does that mean? Being proactive means that you are taking the extra step to reach out to professors, to reach out to physicians, to reach out to hospitals and volunteer coordinators, and you are letting them know that you are serious about wanting to commit to this, you are serious about wanting to start this, you want to make it happen. How can you help them to make it happen sooner? A lot of times pre-meds might be frustrated with getting shadowing experience, because shadowing is easiest to get if you have a physician who is a family member or a close friend. So my advice for you, if you're in that position, is that you want to be proactive, calling back physician offices. You want to be emailing different physician offices. You want to be researching, are there shadowing programs near where I live? Are there shadowing programs near the university that I'm at? You want to really branch out and contact as many different offices and physicians as possible, because you don't know who's going to give you the opportunity to shadow. It could be any one of those places. You could have multiple shadowing opportunities by doing this, or you could just have one shadowing opportunity, and that's fine. But once you have one of them, you have a connection, you have a link. So the next time you can ask that same physician, would it be possible if I could shadow you again? Or if you aren't able to let me shadow, is there someone else that you know of who would be willing to let a student shadow them for the day? Being proactive means that you want to seek ways in which you can be involved in the community, in your college, with volunteering, community service, research, etc. So if you see something that you're interested in, like an organization that you might want to become a leader in, or some kind of volunteering activity that you could see yourself pursuing over a period of time, you want to take initiative. Take the initiative and contact the right people. What I did for my neuroscience organization was, when I was a freshman, I attended all the meetings, I went to a lot of events, and by the end of the year, I knew I wanted to be a part of this organization. And so what I did was, that summer, I contacted the then president of the organization, and I told her that I really loved the organization, I wanted to become more involved, how could I help her? And we did a lot of planning over the summer, and I helped her out in the fall of my sophomore year, and I eventually, from that, became vice president of the organization later that year. So you can definitely make things happen just by taking that extra step to show that you are committed, you're involved, you're serious, and you want to do it. And again, I took a whole year to figure out whether I wanted to be in this organization, so don't feel like you have to figure it out right away, but it's good to know that you want to immerse yourself in as many different things as possible, like a lot of different organizations, and keep up with them. And as you continually keep up with them, you'll see whether or not you kind of like what they're doing, if you like the people that are involved, and that'll help you make a decision of which organization you should pursue. My third tip, and this is probably like one of the most, if not the most important tips out of this video, is that you want to journal every single activity that you do. So journaling every activity for shadowing means that you want to journal the time that you shadowed, the day that you shadowed, the physician you shadowed with, and where you shadowed. And you also, of course, want to mention what specialty you shadowed. And after you mention those things, you want to write a description of what you experienced during that day, or a summary of what you experienced. You want to describe your experiences so that you can know later on when you're filling out that AMCAS med school application, oh yeah, this is what I did during that experience. You're just, kind of jogging your memory a little bit. And I found it really helpful when I was writing my experience descriptions, especially for shadowing, and especially if you do multiple shadowing experiences, you kind of have an organization of this is what I did at each one. So that way okay, I can reference this experience in particular. Tip number 4, do something that you enjoy and you want to try for the first time. So whether this is research, whether it's that newspaper organization on campus, or whether it's a photography class, do something that you're going to enjoy and you want to try for the first time. Because the best part, in my opinion, of being a pre-med is that you get to create your own narrative. You get to create your own map of how one experience led to the other, that led to the next, and you developed these skills and attributes over time that ultimately reveal to you want to pursue medicine, and this is why you are committed to medicine. You should not be trying to just check off boxes on a list for pre-med activities, aside from shadowing and, of course, keeping up grades and MCAT. You want to be picking activities that you truly enjoy so that when you talk about them, it'll be meaningful in the way that you share your experiences, and you'll be more likely to invest in those experiences over time. So that way it shows that you really are committed about what you are passionate about. And it's the same way in medicine. You want to be committed to medicine. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope that you learned a little bit about how you can make the most out of your pre-med experiences. And if there's anything in specific that you want me to go over in more detail, any of my experiences with volunteering, shadowing, and research, well, I did volunteering video recently, but anything more specifically that you guys want to know about, please let me know. I'm really excited to share all of my experiences with you guys so you can learn how you can be the best pre-med. Stay positive and have a beautiful and productive day. Bye, guys!